Welcome back, students. I hope you enjoyed our first unit of study on the Constitution. I hope you learned a lot, and I hope you continue to learn a lot in this course. Today we're going to be starting our unit on the United States federal government, and we'll be looking at the three branches of federal government: the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. So to start things off here, we have a visual of the hierarchy of the federal government. Obviously, we have the Constitution at the top, and last unit we understood why the Constitution is the most important, is the cornerstone of our entire government structure. So this week and this unit, we're going to be talking about those three branches below there. We have the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. And I want you to take a moment and pause the video and make sure you have this copied down in your notes. It's going to be important information for later on. Okay, to start off, we're going to talk about the legislative branch. Make sure you have written down there that the legislative branch makes the laws. That is the branch of government responsible for creating legislation or laws for the United States. Also, make sure you know that it is a bicameral system of government. Bicameral simply means a mixed government. Okay, that's an important vocabulary word. Bicameral means mixed government. And it is a bicameral house in that we have two separate houses that are considered part of the legislative branch of government. These two houses make up Congress. The Congress is made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate. So the House of Representatives and the Senate make up Congress, the lawmaking body of government, or the legislative branch of the United States government. Next, we're going to take a look at the blue area of that chart, which is the executive branch of government. When we're talking about the executive branch of government, we're talking about the branch that executes the law. Okay, so this is the branch that is in charge of enforcing the law that the legislative branch creates. The executive branch, obviously the head, someone we're all familiar with, is the president, the vice president, and also the executive offices of the president or the president's personal cabinet. Next, underneath of that, you can see a long list of the departments of government. These departments have simply been created over the years to ensure that the government services are provided to all citizens in the most efficient manner. Okay, so for example, the Department of Agriculture is going to look over all of the laws that have to do with agriculture in the United States, things like farming and the distribution of food. Moving on down the line, obviously, commerce, defense, education, energy, all of those departments are in charge of enforcing the laws within that particular category of law or government. We're going to take a little bit of a more in-depth look at all of these different departments in one of our discussion boards. But for now, that's all you need to know, is that they are part of the executive branch of government, which enforces the laws. And finally, last but certainly not least, we have the judicial branch of government. And the judicial branch of government is quite possibly, I would think, one of the most important, yet probably the most overlooked branch of government. The judicial branch is in charge of interpreting the laws. And you can see all the subcategories under the judicial branch include some sort of court. Obviously, starting with the Supreme Court, U.S. Courts of Appeal, U.S. District Courts, and Special Courts. So the interpretation of the law is left up to the courts whenever there is a dispute between any differing parties within the United States. So anytime somebody might go to court and there is some sort of dispute over the interpretation of the law, there is a possibility that it could make its way all the way to the Supreme Court, in which the Supreme Court justices, and there are 9 justices on the Supreme Court, and these 9 justices could decide whether or not the law is in fact constitutional or not. So that about does it for our introduction video here. I didn't want to make it too long. Threw a good bit of information at you for now, but we are going to be spending much more time on each individual branch of government. But for now, again, the most important information that you need to know is that the Constitution is the cornerstone of our United States government, and we saw that in our last unit. The 3 major branches of federal government are the legislative branch, the executive branch, and the judicial branch. The legislative branch, which is made up of Congress, which is a bicameral legislator made up of the House of Representatives and the Senate, makes the laws for the United States. This is the lawmaking body of the country. Next, we have the executive branch, which is made up of the president, the vice president, and the executive offices of the president, as well as all of those different departments. That executive branch of government is in charge of executing or enforcing the laws. And finally, the judicial branch, made up of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts, is in charge of interpreting the law to make sure that everything is constitutional, in line with the Constitution. So, thank you for listening, students. Go ahead and look down into your assignment for tonight. And as always, I'm always available via email. You have my phone number should you need it. Please contact me with any questions on the assignments. Thank you. Have a great night.